Let's try this again. Jets fans, it's been a while. Guess what today is? Ron Middleton, take us away.
Victory Monday!
It's Victory Monday, baby. It's Victory Monday. Let's get ready to embrace the suffering. Here we go.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Indeed, at least for today, we are. That's for sure. Welcome, everyone, to Just Embrace the Suffering, presented by No Credentials Required in association with Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm the host of this humble little podcast. And let me just change something really quick. Actually, I'll change it in just a second. But we are going to talk about yesterday's victory. And we're also going to talk about the loss of one of the greatest Jets to ever put on a New York Jets uniform. That is Nick Mangold. He passed away on Saturday. And the news came out just before game time yesterday about Nick Mangold and his passing 11 days after he appealed online for a kidney, because he had a condition which was a genetic condition, and unfortunately after his appeal for a new kidney, he passed away. So we're going to commemorate his life. We're going to talk about his life and talk about his career, mostly his career, not so much his life, but his career, before we get into the game on Sunday. So let's talk about that stuff. I'm going to address some things that happened in yesterday's game. Talk about the game itself. Talk about Justin Fields and his bounce back game. Breece Hall's performance. Also going to have a talk with the pro tank crowd, and also going to talk about how the Jets should respond following the bye week, which is coming up in week 9. But before we do that, just want to remind you to please, follow us. Thank you for joining me on YouTube. Thank you for joining me on Facebook. Thank you for joining me on my personal Twitter channel, which is @WhoIsRyanMCC. Thank you for stopping by. Give us a follow on all of them, but also the OG show, which is No Credentials Required, which is the platform we're on. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required, and also check out our other podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. And on the podcast side, for the OG show, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and that includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and Podbean, which is our host. And hit the notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when live shows like this one are go up. Also look at video clips from past shows. We just published a reaction to the Who Killed the Montreal Expos documentary that dropped last week on Netflix. Starting to pick up steam with the views. So after this show, stop by, watch the video, leave a comment, leave a like. We'd appreciate it. And we're going to get things started about the game. But first, we're going to talk about the legend himself, Nick Mangold, who again passed away on Saturday at the age of 41 years old, man. It sucks that we lost him this soon. And also, again, it sucks that we lost him 11 days after he was making an appeal online for a new kidney. He was diagnosed with chronic kidney disorder, not chronic, but genetic kidney disorder. And unfortunately, if you have the genetic disorder, family, I wouldn't say can't, but it's highly discouraged that family make a donation, and unfortunately, his family couldn't donate. He had a very rare blood type. He was asking for people with the blood type to donate, and unfortunately, he was lost to complications to the kidney disease. And it's an unfortunate circumstance that we live in a time and age where even the genetic condition will affect you in a certain type of way. But we're going to look back at the life of Nick Mangold, at least in his professional and college career. So let's go ahead and take a look at his career. I'll remove the banner real quick so you can get an idea of how impactful he was to this New York Jets team. College career, played his football at Ohio State. I jokingly say, as a Penn State fan who is down in the dumps right now, who do you hate? Ohio State. But in this case, I can't hate on him because that's where he played his ball. He was a member of the 2002 Ohio State National Championship team. Had that controversial end against the University of Miami in the Fiesta Bowl. Was a 2005 All-American. And his pro career is as follows. Drafted 29th overall in the first round of the 2006 NFL Draft. He was the compensatory pick that was used to trade John Abraham, defensive lineman John Abraham, to Atlanta. Remember the story from the Jets days? He wanted a contract extension after getting franchise tag for his career. So the Jets said, "You know what? We'll trade you to Atlanta. We'll get a boatload back." And he did. They got a first round pick. You got Atlanta's 29th pick, which was actually from Denver. Denver had swapped picks with Atlanta, and then the Jets picked up the pick from Atlanta for John Abraham from Atlanta. All rookie team in 2006. He was part of that line, and he's actually part of that draft that also selected DeBrickashaw Ferguson. So that was part of they were a huge part of who the Jets were in terms of the offensive line for a good decade. With DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Jason Fabini, Damian Woody, and I'm trying to remember who the other one, Brian Winters. That offensive line was outstanding. So 2006 All-Rookie team, 7-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time All-Pro in 2009 and 2010. Those were the Rex Ryan years, the first 2 years of the Rex Ryan era. And again, part of that offensive line with Brick, Faneca, Winters, Woody. They just paved the way for guys like Thomas Jones, Sean Green. Incredible team, incredible ground and pound game. And I think they would have eventually won a Super Bowl if things didn't really go south in terms of the game plan of the offense with the New York Jets. But that's another timeline that we'll have to ponder another day. Started in 164 regular season games in his career and 7 playoff games. That includes the 2 playoff runs in 2009 and 2010. Also includes 2006 when they 2006 and 2007. Let's see, 2006. Yeah, 2006 when they played the Patriots in the wild card and lost that game. Barely lost that game. Well, I'll say barely, but they lost that game. And here's an incredible stat. In his career, in 164 games that he started and played in, he only committed 7 holding penalties. And I looked up to see how many offside or false start penalties he had. For centers, it's not really a statistic. Typically, they're the center, the rock of the offensive line. They don't really commit a lot of penalties, but in terms of false starts, but 7 holding penalties. And I didn't get a chance to look at how many snaps he took in his career or he made in his career. But there had to be in the thousands. It had to be over 1,000, over 2,000, a lot of snaps in his career. And he only committed 7 holding penalties. That's Hall of Fame stuff right there. That is Pro Football Hall of Fame stuff right there. He retired in 2016, so he spent 11 seasons with the team, and he was inducted into the Jets Ring of Honor in 2022. And it's funny, I found a story online about it was a clip from Hard Knocks in 2010 about a story about how Rex Ryan put Nick Mangold on blast because he was worried. He says, "Oh, he jokingly says, oh, I was kind of, I'm paraphrasing here, so forgive me." He says, I'm kind of worried that Nick Mangold money got to his head because he was given a contract extension. He signed a contract extension with the team. He said, I'm worried about how the money's getting to his head. You know, after a preseason game, I noticed he was in the line at Taco Bell. I noticed because I was right behind him. So Rex Ryan telling a great story about Nick Mangold, and he's just a man of the people. If I understand, from every interaction he had with media, with fans, with people overall, he was just an outstanding dude to be around. And a man of the people, loved being a Jet, still supported the Jets after his career was done, was an ambassador for the team, was a football ambassador overall. So we're sad to see him leave us so soon at the age of 41. I know he made that appeal for a new kidney and unfortunately lost his life to complications to the kidney disease. But we remember him as not only a great New York Jet, and hopefully he's posthumously elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame just based on his career and how great of a guy he was. But also just we want to make it aware that kidney disease is still a thing, and whether it's genetic or it's chronic, you want to make a difference, and you want to, if you're looking to donate, there's a couple charities out there. The National Kidney Foundation is one of those charities. The American Kidney Fund, the National Organization of Rare Disorders is another one. Just be careful. Just look into if you look at Charity Navigator to make sure that everything is copacetic in terms of what their money goes into, because a lot of these charities not exactly on the level in terms of where their money goes. So you want the money you send, most of it, if not all of it, to go to exclusively to research, especially nonprofits. So looking at the charity, discern which charity you're going to give to, especially ones that are going to make a big difference. And Nick Mangold, man, I wish I got a chance to interview you or interact with you at some point. But I pray for your wife and your kids. He's behind a wife and 4 young children, man. It's just you feel gutted for the family. So prayers for his family, his wife, his kids, and I believe his a couple sisters. One of them who was a power lifter, I think almost qualified for the Olympics back in the day. But it's sad. It's very sad to lose a guy like this very, 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 very soon at the age that he was. So Nick Mangold, prayers for your family, man. And again, get yourself checked. All right. Get yourself checked for kidney disease. Get yourself checked for chronic conditions, because you never know if it's going to happen to you. I've had a member of my family be a beneficiary of a kidney transplant. So, and they are doing much, much better. I won't disclose who it is, but they're doing a whole lot better. I'll just say either he or she is doing much better. So again, make sure you stay healthy. Get yourself checked for genetic conditions. Make sure that you're good and healthy. You're good to go. And it's very sad that Nick Mangold's no longer with us. But hey, in spirit, he was looking down the field at the guys, because we're gonna get into some more positive news, and that is the Jets' first win of the season against the Cincinnati Bengals. They rallied from us down as much as 15 points in the third quarter, entering the fourth quarter to win 39-38. And you know what? It was so good the first time. I gotta play it again. Gotta play it one more time, because it is first time in a long time. You gotta play it. Ron Middleton, take us away.
Victory Monday!
We got people in the chat right now. Julie from Michigan saying hi, Ryan. Hi, Julie. She's one of the cred heads. She's stopping by saying hello. Nick, who is Dustin's brother-in-law, saying, thanks for mixing up the number 1 draft pick, only the Jets. Listen, man, stick around. I'm going to talk to people like you, Nick. Got something to say to you. Julie saying about the Ohio State. Yeah, I say that too. Oh, how I hate Ohio State. And Eli Betts chicken in saying, what up, Rye Dog? What up, Eli? Nice to see you in the chat. Hey, Eli, spread the word, man. Let the fellow as maniacs and the coffee club know that I'm live and love to have them stop by so we can commiserate over this win. Because I'm gonna play it one more time. I'm gonna be annoying. I'm gonna be insufferable. I'm gonna play it again. Mon Middleton, take it away.
Victory Monday!
Let's talk about this win. Jets win their first game of the season. Man, what a load off of Aaron Glenn's back. My goodness. 39-38. As I mentioned, it's the second largest fourth quarter comeback in history. They're coming back from a 15-point deficit. They were down 31-16. They had the ball at the end of the third quarter. They were down by 15. Rally all the way back. That was their second largest fourth quarter deficit in their club's history. The largest one being the Monday Night Miracle back in 2000 when they scored 30 points in the fourth quarter to take it to overtime, and then for the Jets to beat the hated Miami Dolphins in that Monday Night Miracle game. And I'll say this win erased probably one of the worst weeks in team history in terms of off the field stuff. I mean, on the field, it had a horrible game. I would say an execrable game. Scrabble word, ladies and gentlemen. Execrable. An execrable week. Again, especially a pitiful loss against Carolina on Sunday. Pitiful in terms of the defense played well, but the offense didn't show up. Woody Johnson coming out and openly criticizing the play of quarterback Justin Fields at the owners meeting, then saying, yeah, I'm a terrible owner. Basically, I'm a terrible owner. And then the news of Mangold's passing that morning, right before, I would say probably an hour and a half before kickoff. Probably an hour before kickoff was the news of his passing. The Jets responded. And they responded in a big way. I will address the elephant in the room. The defense did not have their best game. The last two games, they allowed only 13 points to their opponent. And this week, they went off the rails. Granted, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Even without Joe Burrow in their lineup, and with Joe Flacco in their lineup, they still score a lot of points. They scored a lot of points. They beat Pittsburgh on Thursday night in week 7. They scored 33 points. They scored 38 points in this game. The Jets tackling on defense was atrocious. 19 missed tackles they had yesterday? Or was it 16? 16 missed tackles. 16 missed tackles yesterday. I think it was Malachi Moore who had the most missed tackles. I think he had 5 missed tackles. I'll have to double check that stat, but not a great game. It couldn't get to Joe Flacco. We saw that one play by Michael Clemens who tried, God bless him, tried to make a play and get Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco wound up running for a first down. You're just going, oh, only this team. 0-8 was incoming. It was incoming very, very hard. Phrasing. Self-phrasing. But the Bengals, let's look at this. If you look at the stats, the Bengals scored on 4 of their first 5 possessions, all 5 possessions of the first half. On the 5 possessions they had in the first half, they punted once and they scored on the 4 others. Field goal and 3 touchdowns. It's gross. It's atrocious. It was really bad. And my computer's going crazy here. Oh, there we go. Sorry, folks. Sometimes documents you create, they get a little squiffy. I don't know what happened here, but we're going to get back to this game. But the defense, second half, they did a little bit better. However, the final two drives, when the Jets needed the defense the most, the defense made plays. They forced a 3-and-out. That was after this is after the Breece Hall touchdown run, the 27-yard touchdown run, and the 2-point conversion. We'll talk about momentarily. Defense had to respond, and they did it. Forced a 3-and-out. They forced a 3-and-out, and they got sacked. They got to Joe Flacco for the first time in this game. In that game, on the second to last possession for the Bengals, forced a 3-and-out, made him punt. You thought to yourself, okay, they've got a chance. They got a chance to do something special, and they drive the length of the field. And they get the touchdown. That nice pass, that halfback pass from Breece Hall to Mason Taylor. And then you thinking to yourself, with just over a minute left in the game when that touchdown happened, you think to yourself, oh, great, here we go again. Just like the Tampa Bay game, they'll have too much time on the clock for Joe Flacco. And Joe Flacco, as we know, wily veteran, 40 years old, been in the league for what seems like forever, but he's still elite. 40 years old, still elite. But the Jets, they do their thing. They force a turnover, and they force a turnover on downs. And a great play was made by A.Z. Thomas, and A.Z. Thomas got burned on that T. Higgins touchdown. Apparently, what happened is that he was on kickoff coverage, and I don't know what happened when he must have got tired. I don't know if he got tired or just got the wrong assignment, but he was placed on kickoff coverage before that play, and he got absolutely burned. But that was the one catch that T. Higgins had all game long. It's incredible. They didn't look. Sauce Gardner's not on the field. He's got a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. The rest of the young secondary stepped up. Malachi Moore stepped up. Stevens stepped up, and A.Z. Thomas stepped up. And Stevens did a pretty good job. I mean, he did a good job on Jamar. He did a much better job on Jamar Chase than Jalen Ramsey did the week before on Thursday night. You want to talk about how good of a game that Brandon Stevens had? Look at the stat line in the box score. Jamar Chase, he had 12 receptions, but he had 91. He had 91 yards on 19 targets. No touchdowns, though. No touchdowns. And I think that was the biggest part of the game. I mean, the other part was the fact that the Jets couldn't tackle, and they allowed the Bengals to run up 181 rushing yards. Well, yeah, that was part of the defense that was bad yesterday. Again, the 16 missed tackles, a lot of them were coming from runs by Chase Brown. So, but again, the defense stepped up when they needed to, and they got the win. And how good do you have to feel right now about Aaron Glenn? And here's what is the most. Football has a way, man. Football has a way of doing kooky things. And this is being labeled by a lot of Jets fans as the Mangold miracle. Aaron Glenn gets his first win as a professional head coach. Paycor Stadium or Brown or Brown Stadium, Bengal Stadium, Paul Brown Stadium, whatever you want to call it, is a little over 47 miles away from where Mangold was born and grew up in Centerville, Ohio. Yeah, the core again. Just like last week's game with the Giants and the Broncos and the Demaryius Thomas and all those, again, whatever you want to call it, fate, coincidence, providence, serendipity, another one of those circumstances yesterday. Nick Mangold was born and raised in Ohio, in Centerville, Ohio, which is a little over 47 miles away from Paycor Stadium or Paul Brown Stadium. And I got to give some special flowers here. We Jets fans have given Aaron Glenn so much crap for bringing back Isaiah Williams, made those crucial mistakes in the Monday night Monday night game, or as I did the Monday night miserable game, misery game against the Miami Dolphins, where he had the fumble on the opening kickoff in the second half, calling for a fair catch at the 2-yard line, like he was Isaiah Wright from Last Chance U. Coincidentally, they share the same first name, but Isaiah Williams stepped it up yesterday. He stepped it up. He had 226 all-purpose yards yesterday. What an incredible game! It's nice for guys to contribute when other people are out. Listen to this: 226 all-purpose yards. Had one rush for 25 yards on a trick play. Had 31 receiving yards. I think had 3 receptions for 31 yards. 132 kick return yards on 5 kick returns. He was averaging a little over 20 yards per kick return. And he had a long kick return that got the Jets good field position. That had a 37-yard kick return. So he averaged 26.4 yards per kick return. The only other kick return that was taken back was by Arian Smith, who also had a pretty decent game. He had a reception on the last drive that got the Jets within the 10-yard line. He also had 38 punt return yards, which doesn't seem like much, but the Jets have been hankering for a return game. He had a 21-yard punt return, which again, got the Jets some decent field possession. So gotta give my flowers to Isaiah Williams. Again, for as much crap as we gave to Aaron Glenn for bringing him back to the lineup after he cost the Jets the game on Monday night a couple weeks ago, he stepped it up. It's next man up. This next man up mentality, and this Jets team fighting. They're fighting for their coach, and you saw it in the locker room after the game how much they loved him, how much they were giving him. I think it was Phillips who hoisted him in the air after Christopher Johnson. Not Woody Johnson, Christopher Johnson gave Aaron Glenn the game ball. Well, it's interesting that Christopher Johnson was representing the ownership group, not Woody Johnson. They couldn't be bothered to show up in the locker room after what he said last week at the owners meeting. What, did he have more important business in England? Who knows? Who knows? But let's talk about two players who had special games yesterday. Justin Fields, after a week of junk, Justin Fields responds with a fantastic game. I'll get to that in just a second. Actually, let me read some comments from the comments section real quick. Julie and Eli having a nice conversation about the game yesterday. Julie saying Woody Johnson feeling like a tiny, tiny man going after Justin Fields. Fields did great yesterday. Yeah, I'm just about to talk about that. Joe Flacco, Eli saying Joe Flacco looked done with us. Eli's asking if I would trade Quinnen Williams for Brian Thomas Jr. I will address the trade deadline in a couple of segments, Eli. And Eli saying, Michael, quote, he looks great shirtless, Clemens. Oh, goodness. More comments here. One Ring joining us. He's a new viewer, or he or she's a new viewer. Thanks for joining us. One Ring saying, do we believe that Woody did that to spark a fire under the team? I think the Jets won in spite, to spite Woody Johnson. Like I said in last week's show, I think he's personally checked out from this season. Actually, I said that on No Credentials Required on the OG show last Tuesday after those comments came out. Oh, it's Johnny Boy. Hey, what's up, Johnny Boy? Good to see you, man. Good. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you. And Julie's saying I wouldn't have shown up either. Dude's probably hiding in a hole somewhere. Yeah, he's probably hiding in his closet in owner's closet back on one Jets drive. But let's talk about Justin Fields' performance. He responded to the criticism from the media, from content creators like me, from his owner, with his best performance since week 1. Now let's look at the stats real quick. For passing, 21 of 32, 244 yards, 1 touchdown. Seems like pedestrian numbers, but for this type of offensive scheme, I wouldn't say it's. I would not think it was. I don't think it was a pedestrian numbers. I think this is the wheelhouse that they want Justin Fields to be in, because they had 200 plus yards. They had almost 250 yards rushing. Over 250 yards rushing. Excuse me. Speaking of rushing, 11 carries, 31 yards. No touchdowns, but again, getting the key yards to keep the drives going. The most important stat, and there's 2 of them. He didn't turn the ball over. He still has no interceptions on the season, folks. Still no interceptions on the season. And he didn't get sacked. The offensive line, I don't know if it was because of Nick Mangold looking down on us, or on the Jets fans, or if it's just the fact that they wanted to play for the quarterback. No sacks. And he ran the ball again, 11 carries, 31 yards. He's moving, he's using his legs to get out of the pocket. If he feels like the heat's coming on, getting out of the pocket, getting yards. And again, Fields looks sharp. Unlike the last couple of weeks, the last 3 weeks, I would say. He's getting the ball out early. He was hitting receivers. Tanner Engstrand utilizing the field, and drawing up a game plan that absolutely worked against the deficiencies of the Cincinnati defense. So I gotta give him some credit too. Give him his flowers. Schemes up the plan. There were obvious deficiencies on the Bengals defense, namely in their secondary and in their linebacking core. Trey Hendrickson was neutralized for the most of the game. And I think John Simpson must have hurt him on a block, because he was feeling kind of feeling kind of away after that game. Trey Hendrickson did. And he was actually questionable coming into this game, but I had a feeling he was, with the Jets playing the way they were on offense, he might have not been in this game, and he would have eaten against this offensive line. But man, give credit to the offensive line for keeping Justin Fields clean. And this was the response that Fields needed. It was a response that Fields needed to shut up everybody who was just absolutely giving him absolute crap. The critics, all the critics from the media, again, content creators like me. I wasn't his biggest fan over the last 3 weeks, and especially Woody Johnson, who again didn't even bother to show up at this game. His brother went to this game. Christopher Johnson went to this game. But let's talk about this press conference thing. And Eli with the comments saying, "I love Justin Fields as a person. I love his strong faith, but telling the media you cried was not the move in my opinion." I'm going to push back on that. The press conference afterwards, Fields admitted he sat in his closet floor and cried. We all know, and here's the thing. Here's the thing I keep forgetting. He has a documented history of anxiety. He's been on epilepsy medications since he was diagnosed as a freshman in high school. He's also using his faith as a platform to be open about these issues. If you're the type not you specifically, Eli, I just want to mention that it's not you specifically, but for those Jets fans and those NFL fans who look down on people like Justin Fields, and we all know about his struggles on the field. They're quite evident. We've seen them. But to clown on him because of his struggles off the field, I encourage you, as Jesus said in Matthew chapter 7, to take the plank out of your own eye instead of focusing on the sawdust in Justin Fields. I personally think he's brave enough to be an example of a man who is willing to encourage others to openly talk about their struggles. myself included. I grew. I actually gained a measure of respect. I gained a measure of respect for him because he was open about his anxiety, open about his struggles, and he's using leaning on his faith to be a better man off the field. And I think that's what matters more is being a better man off the field. Sure, the performances are great. Had a great game yesterday, but the impact you make off the field speaks more about you as a person than on the field. And I think he mentioned in the offseason during practices that Russell Wilson, his teammate in Pittsburgh, now at the New York Giants, had a big part of bringing him along, or encouraging him in his faith. And Eli saying, say that again. Yeah, again, in the words of Jesus, take the plank out of your own eye instead of focusing on the sawdust in another person's eye. You haven't walk a mile in their shoes first before you say anything. And again, I encourage my fellow Jets fans, especially my fellow Jets fans, just because he admitted something in public that was was deeply personal to him, especially after a win. If he had done this after a loss, then I'd been like, why are you saying this? But especially after a win, because he's been through the adversity. He's been through the ringer in Chicago and Pittsburgh, now New York, in the biggest media market, the toughest media market to play in all of sports. To say that is just again, I grew much more respect for him after he admitted that. And I think Jets fans should also do the same thing. Which brings me to an all-time performance let's talk about his teammate Breece Hall. This offense was incredible yesterday. 254 for the team. The team overall had 254 yards rushing. They had 502 yards total. What an incredible game. And with Garrett Wilson gone for the second consecutive game because of his hyperextended knee, the guy who's going to have to step it up was Breece Hall. He had to be the primary weapon on offense in this game. And guess what? He did it. He exceeded our expectations because of the way this offense had been playing over the last 2 weeks. It's been awful. It's been awful. And in this game, they had to respond. And I think that first half touchdown, the first half touchdown that they had, it made them relax. It got them to relax, and Breece Hall just took over. Just absolutely took over. Final stats for this game for Breece Hall. 18 carries for 133 yards. He's averaging 7.4 yards per carry in this game. 2 touchdowns to go with. Let's see his receptions here. I forgot to note his receptions. Sorry about that. Let me go back and look it up here. Receptions. 2 receptions for 14 yards on 3 targets. His longest 11 yard reception, catch and run. But here's a great stat. 1 of 1 passing. 1 for 1, 4 yards, and a touchdown. On that trick play, the double clutch play, he throws it to Mason Taylor, who gets his first NFL touchdown, and it just happens to be the game-winning touchdown that put the Jets ahead. And I saw a wacky stat that the New York Jets Twitter account had put up this afternoon. If I can find it. There it is. Since 2000, there have been 2 non-quarterbacks to throw a game-winning touchdown in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime. Curtis Martin and yesterday Breece Hall. What more can you say about this performance? And he's eligible. He's currently they're taking votes for the FedEx Air and Mail Offensive Player of the Week. Go vote for Breece Hall. If you're a Jets fan and you love the Jets, and you love this performance from yesterday, go vote for Breece Hall. Vote for him now. Vote now, vote often, as they say in Jersey City, New Jersey, and in Chicago. But we also, in addition to Breece Hall, we have to give our flowers again. We're giving so many flowers. I got them by the bunches today. Isaiah Davis, 7 carries, 65 yards, including that 50-yard rip in the third quarter that eventually led to a field goal. Also made some key blocks to protect Justin Fields. And don't forget that 2-point conversion where you get the ball just over the plane. Caught the ball just over the plane for that 2-point conversion to get them to 38-32. And then the Jets defense stepped it up, got a 3-and-out, sacked Joe Flacco, got the ball back, drove the length of the field, got that touchdown to take the lead. And in addition to that, Isaiah Davis had 5 receptions for 44 yards, including a 26-yard reception, his longest of the day. Great effort overall by this offense. And again, I'll also give my shots to the New York receiving corps. Tyler Johnson stepped it up, 3 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Mason Taylor, 5 receptions, 34 yards. Isaiah Williams, 3 receptions, 31 yards. Jeremy Ruckert had a key catch and run for 24 yards to keep a drive alive in the fourth quarter. 1 reception, 24 yards. Arian Smith, 1 reception, 23 yards. Again, key receptions, fourth quarter. Andrew Beck, 1 reception, 9 yards. Alan Lazard, only 1 reception on 2 targets for 5 yards, but blocking. Davis doing an excellent job. All the receivers, Ruckert, Taylor, they did a hell of a job making lanes, getting downfield, blocking downfield to help out Breece Hall, to help out Isaiah Davis. That 50-yard run, you saw a great block. Saw some great blocks. But we talk about the speculation around Breece Hall and how he could be dealt at the trade deadline, which is a week from tomorrow afternoon, 4:00 Eastern, next week, November 4th, next Tuesday, November 4th, which is coincidentally Election Day in the United States. I think any talk about trading Breece Hall should die a quick and painful death after the performance, because we realize now, and I think the coaching staff, I think Darren Muji, I think management, upper management, ownership group realize how important Breece Hall is to this offense based on yesterday's performance. He's that important to the offense. He makes this offense tick. When Garrett Wilson can't get it going, you go to Breece Hall. Give him the ball. You give him the ball, and you give Isaiah Davis the ball, and whoever's back there, give him the ball. This is the reason why the Jets won. 254 yards on the ground. This is your identity. You're looking for that offensive identity for weeks, for 8 weeks now. This is your identity. This is a tribute to Nick Mangold. Ground and pound, man. Ground and pound. Stay healthy offensively. When Garrett Wilson comes back in the Cleveland game, yes, obviously you're going to want to use him as your primary receiver, but Breece Hall should also be the focal point of this offense. And guess what? He's up for an extension at the end of the season. The Jets talked about either extending him or Elijah Vera Tucker. With Elijah Vera Tucker being so injury prone, I think they'll let him go at the end of the season. Use that money to sign this man, Breece Hall. And which makes you wonder, is this offensive performance, it makes you wonder if you can see a performance like this again during the season. I certainly hope so. The schedule softens up a little bit after the bye week, because you got Cleveland, then you're at the Patriots on Thursday night, at the Ravens, who had a decent game yesterday against the Bears, but again, smoke and mirrors. The Bears are not as good as we thought they were. At home against the Dolphins, at the Jaguars, at the Saints, at home against the Patriots for the home finale, then at the Bills, who I'm pretty sure will be fighting for the AFC East in Week 18. And it's the final game at whatever you want to call it. I still call it Rich Stadium. Rich Stadium, New Era Field, Highmark Stadium, before they move into the Kathy Hochul Memorial Stadium next season as their final home game for the Buffalo Bills. But man, we got some more comments in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for engaging engaging the chat amongst each other with me. I appreciate it. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for more stuff, because I'm going to be talking more Jets till the end of the season. And it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Where do I start? Because right now it's just between Eli and Julie and John Boy. Johnny Boy was asking me thoughts on the Sherwood benching. What does that mean for Quincy's future? I think it was a good thing for Sherwood to be benched, because it made him realize, I can't make mistakes. For what it means for Quincy's future, I think Quincy stays. And I'll talk about the trade deadline in just a moment or two. More comments. Julie saying, I have more respect for Fields after hearing this. Honestly, it's easy to forget these players are human too. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when going back to my chaplain days, when I was a chaplain for a local hockey team, they just want to be treated like people. Honestly, like these professional athletes, we hold them up on these pedestals, but they just want to be treated like people. They just want to be treated like a human being. They just want to have a conversation. You and me, just chilling, having a good time, having deep conversations. Eli saying, Ryan, can you clarify that 2-point conversion? I thought the ball had to cross a plane. It looked like his feet were in the end zone. If you watch it on replay, I recorded the game on Fubo, so I'm going to watch it again. I think just the tip of the ball, like the nose of the ball, when Isaiah Davis caught it, and he completed the catch, and it crossed the plane, that counted as crossing the plane. And yeah, I agree. You thought it's just his feet were in the end zone, but I think he caught the ball, got possession, and got the nose of the ball just over the plane to get that 2-point conversion. So, and kudos to it's, football is a game of breaks, but the Jets got the breaks. This is a break that the Jets needed, and yeah, it worked out. Eli saying, give Breece Hall 4 years, $48 million. Make it happen, Woody. Your mouth to God's ears, as our friend Jake Asman would say. 4 years, 48 mil. That's about 12 million a year. I mean, if they franchise tag him, it's 11. I think it's 11 million. But yeah, I think if you give him 30 million guaranteed, I think he'll stay. He says that'll put him with the likes of Josh Jacobs and Alvin Kamara. I think he's more valuable than Alvin Kamara, to be honest, right now. I mean, Alvin Kamara is coming up to the twilight of his career. Believe it or not, he's coming up to the twilight. That's how long he's been playing. So, but Josh Jacobs got that nice fat contract from the Green Bay Packers a couple years ago. But yeah, I think they'll put him on par. And by the way, bold prediction I'll make tomorrow night. I'll give you a sneak preview for tomorrow night of no credentials required. Jonathan Taylor is going to get himself a nice fat contract extension at the end of the season, especially if he breaks 2,000 yards. I think he personally, I think he will break Eric Dickerson's record. Bold prediction, folks. Bold prediction. Jonathan Taylor breaking Eric Dickerson's record. Although I still recognize Herschel Walker's 1985 USFL season with the New Jersey Generals as the mark to break. As the mark to break. I kid, but it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see. Blaine, co-founder of Belly Up Sports, saying if Alvin Kamara was on a different team, I think he would be prospering. New Orleans is that bad. Trade deadline, Blaine. I'm pretty sure there's some teams out there who could use a quarterback, a running back like Alvin Kamara, and I think I think the Saints will be willing to part ways with him if they can get a nice return back. Eli saying, I think the Broncos made a call last year for him. Well, we'll see. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but afterwards we'll talk about. I'm going to address the pro tank crowd, and I'm going to address how the Jets should respond following the bye week, because I don't think I'm going to record next week for Justin doing the suffering unless I bring in a special guest or something. But yeah, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. We have much more of Just Endure the Suffering on No Credentials Required. Stand by and stay tuned. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. That is right, folks. SeatGeek is one of our premier sponsors at Belly Up Sports, which is the primary network I'm on right now. SeatGeek, $20 off your first order of $50 or more. Let's take a quick gander at what ticket prices currently are for the Jets' next game against the Cleveland Browns. And they currently start at $58. So a seat in the cheap seats for $58 will get you a nice ticket inside. Although I recommend catching a ride to the game as opposed to paying $35 up to $60 for a parking spot. But that's neither here nor there. SeatGeek.com. Use their pricing tool. Use their pricing tool to get the best seats at the best affordable prices. Plus, get $20 off your order of $50 or more with promo code BellyUpSports at checkout. They've been one of our great premier sponsors, affiliate sponsors at Belly Up Sports. But it's not just Jets games. It's a bye week. So go to if you're local somewhere, if you have a minor league team, get minor league hockey team. Minor league hockey is one of my favorite things in the world. You got a minor league hockey team, AHL, ECHL. If they require a box office ticket to get in, use promo code BellyUpSports at checkout on SeatGeek.com. Use that pricing tool for the best affordable price for you and your loved one. If you decide to take your loved one and save $20 off, use it to get something concession stand, a beer. Use it towards parking if you need to. Use it towards a souvenir. Do whatever you want. It's your $20 off with $50 or more with SeatGeek.com. Use that promo code at checkout. A couple more comments. We had one comment in the comments section here from Blaine saying, I think the Jets need to do a franchise. They need to franchise Hall and then go after a quarterback in the draft or free agency. Find those gem backup quarterbacks that everyone is getting to play to their potential lately. Well, Justin Fields was supposed to be that bridge quarterback because I think us Jets fans know they're going after a quarterback in the draft or free agency, and Justin Fields is that bridge. But they want to see if this quarterback in the future is going to fit their system. So I would agree. Go after a quarterback in the draft, or I say more so in the draft, but also find a capable backup after free agency because I don't know what's going to happen with Tyrod Taylor after this season. So Eli saying rec league hockey is good stuff too. But do you have to use a box office ticket to get inside? Minor league hockey. I'm in the capital region of New York. We've had our fair share of minor league hockey teams float through. The Adirondack Red Wings, Albany River Rats, Albany Devils, Adirondack Thunder, Adirondack Phantoms, Adirondack Flames, the Adirondack Ice Hawks, and the Adirondack Frostbite, who were owned once upon a time by Barry Melrose and Steve Levy. Fun fact. That was back in the UHL days. That was back when it really wasn't a three-tier system in professional hockey. But now it's the NHL, AHL, ECHL as the ECHL as the AA affiliates of the National Hockey League. And yes, these were, currently the Adirondack Thunder exist, but we had all those other teams. Oh, the Capital District Islanders. I forgot about them. I totally forgot about the Capital District Islanders who played at RPI Fieldhouse back in the day. They were the precursor to the Albany River Rats. So, but yes, the Adirondack Red Wings. They used to play here. They were the Red Wings affiliate for many, many years at Glens Falls Civic Center. Now the Martin Harding Arena. I can't remember. So many. I still call it the Glens Falls Civic Center. Goodness. But enough about minor league hockey. I've got a message for the tankers, the pro tank crowd. Stick it. After yesterday's win, stick it. All right. Let's talk about draft positioning. And I know I saw Nick, Dustin's brother-in-law, Nick, in the chat saying, "Oh, the Jets draft, they ruined the number 1 pick in the draft. This and that." Listen, let's talk about the New York Jets. Let's talk about the number 1 pick in the draft in the NFL. Let's look at the history. Now, quarterbacks. I talked about this yesterday at my co-host Dustin's house. We got together with a couple of guys, snacks, beers, bratwurst, football. It was a great day. It's a fun day. And the subject of the draft came up. Now, quarterbacks are a recent thing with number 1 draft picks. We're picking number 1 in the draft. And I'm going to echo some other Jets content creators in saying getting the number 1 pick in the draft and drafting a quarterback as number 1 does not guarantee you'll have any success, at least in the immediate future. There are a few, but they are very rare outliers. Let's take a look at the NFL draft throughout the years. Last season, or this past year, number 1 pick in the draft, Cam Ward, quarterback. 2024, Caleb Williams, quarterback. 2023, Bryce Young, quarterback. 2021, Trevor Lawrence, quarterback. 2020, Joe Burrow. 2019, Kyler Murray. 2018, Baker Mayfield. These are all quarterbacks I'm naming now. 2016, Jared Goff. 2015, Jameis Winston. 2012, Andrew Luck. 2011, Cam Newton. 2010, Sam Bradford. 2009, Matthew Stafford. 2007, Jamarcus Russell. Remember him? Remember Jamarcus Russell? Nobody does. 2005, Alex Smith. 2004, Eli Manning, who was traded to the Giants. 2003, Carson Palmer. 2002, David Carr. 2001, Michael Vick. 1999, Tim Couch. 1998, Peyton Manning. 1993, Drew Bledsoe. 1990, Jeff George. Not even Jeff George wants to be known as Jeff George. 1989, Troy Aikman. 1987, Vinny Testaverde. 1983, John Elway, who was traded from Baltimore to the Broncos. Continuing, 1975, Steve Bartkowski. 1971, Jim Plunkett. 1970, Terry Bradshaw. 1963, Terry Baker. 1959, Randy Duncan. 1958, King Hill. 1955, George Shaw. 1954, Bobby Garrett. 1952, Bill Wade. And the first quarterback, there's 2 quarterbacks. 1946, Frank Dankowitz, the first quarterback to be drafted first overall in the draft. 1944, Andrew Bertelli. Guess how many quarterbacks won a Super Bowl or won an NFL championship? Let's count them. Bill Wade went to let's see. So going back to 1946, 1944, Andrew Bertelli, drafted by the Boston Yanks. All he's known for is being a Heisman Trophy winner. Andrew Bertelli, Heisman Trophy. Yeah. And 1946, Frank Dinkowitz never made any noise. Bill Wade, Pro Bowl, 1958, 1963, never won a championship. 1954, Bobby Garrett, no record of a championship or any achievements, any notable achievements. George Shaw, NFL champion with the Baltimore Colts, 1958. He was a backup to Johnny Unitas, by the way. King Hill, Chicago Cardinals, nothing notable. Randy Duncan, drafted by the Green Bay Packers. Bart Starr wound up winning Super Bowls. He never won a Super Bowl or an NFL championship. Terry Baker, again, nothing of note. Won the Heisman Trophy in 1962. Terry Bradshaw, 4-time Super Bowl winner. Okay, there's one. Jim Plunkett won a Super Bowl with the Oakland Raiders. Was drafted by the New England Patriots. Was a 2-time Super Bowl champion. 15 and 18. Won the Super Bowl MVP in 15. Steve Bartkowski went to 2 Pro Bowls. John Elway, 2-time Super Bowl champion in the Hall of Fame. Vinny Testaverde, 2 Pro Bowls, won the Heisman Trophy. Troy Aikman, 3 Super Bowls. So that's 4 right there. Jeff George, didn't do anything of note. Drew Bledsoe, backup for the Patriots in Super Bowl 36. Peyton Manning, 2 Super Bowls. So there's 6. Tim Couch went to 1 playoff game in his career. Michael Vick, Pro Bowl 4 times. David Carr won a Super Bowl as a backup. So that's 7. As a backup to Eli Manning. Davey Two Gloves, as I call him. Carson Palmer, 3-time Pro Bowler. Eli Manning, two-time Super Bowl winner. So that's 8. Jamarcus Russell, into the sun. Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl champion, drafted by Detroit, traded to the Rams. So there's 9. Cam Newton went to a Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers, did not win a Super Bowl. Andrew Luck, 4-time Pro Bowler. Went to the AFC Championship, I think, once. Jared Goff, 4-time Pro Bowler, went to a Super Bowl with the Rams, got traded a year later to Detroit Lions. And I know Julie from Michigan's in the chat. She's hoping that they go to the Super Bowl this year and win a Super Bowl. Could happen. Baker Mayfield, 2-time Pro Bowler. Went to the NFC Divisional in 2023. It's as far as he's gotten. Kyler Murray, 2-time Pro Bowler. Been in the playoffs once. Joe Burrow went to a Super Bowl, didn't get it, or didn't win it. Trevor Lawrence, 1-time Pro Bowler. Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, they both won Heisman Trophy winners. They both won the Heisman Trophy. Cam Ward, to be determined. That's 9 quarterbacks out of how many that have been drafted over the last 50, 60, 70 years that have won an NFL championship or won a Super Bowl? 9. Again, selecting a quarterback first overall does not guarantee any success. And again, quarterbacks who are drafted first overall are typically outliers. 9 of them. And some of them have been traded to different teams in order to win a Super Bowl. Jim Plunkett. As I mentioned, Jim Plunkett. John Elway was traded from Baltimore to Denver, but he won Super Bowls with Denver. Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams after being traded from the Lions for Jared Goff, who, again, could go to the Super Bowl this year. But here's the thing to remember. The Jets have many other issues to address than just quarterback. They still need a wide receiver too. They still need they still need a lot of depth on defense. Defensive tackle, edge, secondary that kind of addressed during the offseason and in the draft this season. Linebacker. Jimmy Sherwood has not played to the potential he was awarded when he got that contract in the offseason. It was 3 years, $33 million, or 4 years, $44 million. It's going to take some time for this Jets team to win a Super Bowl. Again, my lips to God's ears, hopefully in my lifetime, the Jets will win a Super Bowl. They've come close 3 times in my life. One of them I barely remember. The other 3, actually 4 times, excuse me. One of them I barely remember. The second one was Bill Parcells' second year. That team should have, there was, and three of those teams, the three other teams, 98, 09, 2010, were a one half away from going to the Super Bowl against Denver, Indianapolis, and Pittsburgh. This team has much more to address other than quarterback. Do we want a quarterback that can get us to a Super Bowl? Absolutely. Absolutely, we all do. For as long as we've been fans, for all of us who've been fans, our loyalty deserves to be rewarded. And it's going to take some time. Hopefully this regime learned their lesson and didn't address and they addressed wide receiver 2 this offseason, whether it be through the draft, whether it be through free agency. And they also need to fix up their interior depth on defensive line, both interior and at edge and at linebacker. Because if you see the injuries start to accumulate, like we did a couple weeks ago with Quincy Williams, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. So, and I also have to say, I think we need to turn off the fire sale sign. Because a week ago, we were all in this position. All us Jets fans were like, we're 0-7. We're out of a playoff spot. We got to accumulate picks. We got to sell everybody. We got to sell all of our pieces. We got to sell Quinnen. We got to sell off Breece Hall. We got to trade Quinnen. Pause. Let's pause. Let's push a pause. Let's push the pause button right here. If an offer comes through that looks tempting and looks like it could add to our draft coffers, and yeah, absolutely. Make the move. But I think especially after yesterday's win, I mean, this group has grown together over the last 4 seasons. Since 2022. This group has grown together. They want to win together. Quinnen Williams stayed here because he wants to win a title. Garrett and Breece Garrett and Sauce signed extensions because they want to stay here and win. And it's evident in the locker room after yesterday's win. This team wants to continue to grow together. And it's evident that they love Aaron Glenn. It's very evident they love him. And they want to play for him. And I pray to God that they'll keep stacking wins throughout the season. My floor for this season was 7. I'm going to drop that to 5. But again, it's a softer schedule on the back end on the back end, and they can accumulate more wins. It's not a bold prediction, but they could do it. So let's push the pause button. Let's turn off the fire sale sign, and let's have this team grow together. And yes, let's add some bits and pieces here and there in next year's draft and in free agency, because they're gonna have some cap space once this season's over. They're gonna have some cap space, and they're gonna be able to get some pieces in that will help this team. And that brings me to the last section of this podcast. We've got some more. We got a lot of comments while I was talking about the quarterbacks. Eli being the primary protagonist here. But I have a question from Spencer. He's saying, is it a hot take that Kevin O'Connell needs to have someone take over play calling? Spencer, I'm talking primarily about the New York Jets. Save that question for tomorrow's show, 6:30 Eastern time for No Credentials Required. This is just Endure the Suffering. This is primarily all about the New York Jets. And why isn't my background showing up? I don't know why. Anywho, Eli saying let's wait for Mahomes to turn 40 and we can sign him. No, let's not. I'm pretty sure you said that in jest. So let's talk about the response to the bye week. This week, it's a bye week. Thank God for the bye week, because we need it. The first 8 weeks of the season have been exhausting. It's been exhausting for us fans. I'm pretty sure it's been exhausting for this organization, for the players, the coaches, even the owner. Yes, even the owners. I'll include them too. It's been exhausting. It's been exhausting. It's been an emotional roller coaster. We've had a lot of anger. We've had a lot of sadness. Yesterday was the first time in a while we could say, I'm so happy to be a Jets fan. But let's talk about the New York Jets, how they should respond after this bye week. And it's going to be a very curious situation to find out how they'll respond, because this is the first bye week in the Aaron Glenn era. Looking back under let's look at the last 4 seasons under Saleh and Ulbrich. Here's the Jets after the bye week. And I'll just say this, it has not been great, Bob. Hasn't been great. Let's look at the last 4 seasons under Saleh and Ulbrich. 2021. They took their bye week very early after the London game against Atlanta. They were 1-3 coming into that game. They were 1-4 going into New England. They were 1-4 coming out because Bill Belichick hates the Jets and absolutely laid waste to them 54-13. If you remember, that was the game that Josh Uche put an alligator roll on Zach Wilson's knee and he was out for a couple weeks. So that was the alligator roll game. 2022, and I think 2 weeks after that was the Mike White cooking game against Cincinnati. It's just interesting that the Jets, when they play Cincinnati, it seems to be the cure that ails them. And I think it's the Browns and the Bengals that the Jets have an over 500 record all time against. Anyway, getting back to the bye weeks. 2022, they were 6-3 going into New England. They were 6-4 coming out. A 10-3 loss. Again, another Bill Belichick hitting the Jets masterclass. Marcus Jones, the walk-off punt return for the touchdown. And they forgot the clip that was the block in the back that was not called on the Marcus Jones return. 2023. This was the Aaron Rodgers season. This is supposed to turn it all around for the Jets. Zach Wilson goes in. Plays awfully against the Giants after the bye week. But the Jets still win that game 13-10 against the Giants. This was the game that the Jets held the Giants. The Jets defense held the Giants to -9. -9 yards passing between Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito, a.k.a. Tommy Cutlets. And then last season, 2024, a 26-21 loss against the Seattle Seahawks. My no credentials required co-host Dustin was at that game. His brother-in-law bought him tickets for that game. This was a game that the Jets scored 21 first half points and scored a big fat 0 in the second half because Nathaniel Hackett did not know how to run an offense. So this season, they are home against the Cleveland Browns, who are also coincidentally on a bye week. This is what do the Jets have to do against the Cleveland Browns? On offense, stick to what works. Stop or at least contain Myles Garrett. Run the ball. Then run it again. Then run it again. Then again. I sound like Coach Herb Brooks. Again. Keep running the ball. Keep Justin Fields coached up and get him cooking early. And also, I would also recommend starting on their first drive, score a touchdown. Because I think that will snowball effect for the rest of the offense and the defense. Because this defense is going to be facing one of 3 quarterbacks in week 9. And we'll talk about the defense. Get after the quarterback. This team doesn't have that many sacks this season. 4 in week 1 against Aaron Rodgers. Only 1 last week against Joe Flacco, who is also just as immobile as Aaron Rodgers, although it doesn't look like him on the film. But they need to get after whoever is playing quarterback. If it's Dylan Gabriel, the rookie, Bailey Zappi, or even Shadur Sanders, another rookie. Which I'm still confused as to why they made that pick when they already drafted Dylan Gabriel. But besides the point, whoever's that quarterback, that defensive line needs to get after him. They need to get after him. Steve Wilkes has 2 weeks to come up with a game plan to get after the quarterback when they're passing. Stop the run. This run game is bereft. The Browns are bereft of a run game. I think Kinshawn Jenkins left yesterday's game with an AC joint injury. He did not return. That's why Joe Flacco went to the back before the final drive of yesterday's game, is because he suffered an AC joint injury in his arm. I wasn't sure if it was his throwing arm or his non-throwing arm, but yesterday's game against the Patriots, Kinshawn Jenkins suffered an AC joint injury, did not return. So after Kinshawn Jenkins, this team is bereft of a run game. Tackle. 16 missed tackles against the Bengals. The Jets lead the league in missed tackles. Can't do that. You cannot do that against, there we go. I figured it out. They cannot do this against the Cleveland Browns, who are terrible offensively. Terrible. Those 31 points last week, 2 weeks ago, against the Miami Dolphins, a lot of it came because of defensive turnovers. Because of their defense. Speaking of which, in turnovers, force a turnover. Jets have 1 turnover this year. 1 turnover. And I guess you could call the blocked punt against the Buccaneers a takeaway. They have 1 turnover, that fumble recovery. That was forced by Jarvis Brownlee, who has become a great player for this Jets team since he was acquired and started playing. Forced turnovers. Force Dylan Gabriel or whoever's in the backfield to throw an interception. Get the home crowd into it. Whether it be on both sides of the ball, they need to get the home crowd into it. Forever, how many people are going to be at MetLife Stadium? I thought about, if the Jets had lost this game, I thought about going down. I thought about buying a ticket. SeatGeek.com promo code Belly Up Sports at checkout. I thought about making a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or hoodie that had in Jets lettering, free hugs, buying a ticket and going to the stadium and giving free hugs to fellow Jets fans, because that's how the season's gone. But thankfully, I'm not going to do that. Thankfully, I don't have to do that. Anyway, defense, get to the quarterback, stop the run, tackle, force a turnover. Offense, contain Myles Garrett, run the ball, keep running the ball. Keep Justin Fields coached up and cooking early, and get him cooking early. And on your first drive of the game, score a touchdown, because they'll get the crowd into it. They'll get the defense juiced up, and they'll be encouraged to get the ball back and keep doing it again. Because yesterday was an amazing effort. I don't want to see it go to waste after a bye week, because Robert Saleh's team and Jeff Ulbricht's team wasted so many opportunities after the bye week. They were so unprepared during the bye weeks. I want to see a much different team in the Aaron Glenn era, and I hope they do it. I sincerely hope that they do it. A couple more comments in the comments section here. Eli saying Garrett Wilson will be back. Sauce will be back. Everyone should be healthy. I'm excited. Me too. I'm excited again. I mean, this week will be stress-free football on a Sunday for the first time in a month. So it'll be nice to have it on Red Zone, or going on a local pub and local watering hole, have a couple beers, and enjoy football. Eli saying, one thing is for sure, we will have a great week of practice after a nice, healthy week off. After a great week off, we will have a great week of practice. Eli asking, what was he? Didn't let the team down from Zach Wilson. I'm not sure which bye week game you're referring to, Eli. Was it 2022 when Zach Wilson had an awful performance, and that offense had an awful performance against the Patriots, and they only scored 3 points, and 10-3 Patriots game. Yeah, that game was just awful. It was terrible. They were 6-3 coming into that game. They'd just beaten Buffalo a week before the bye week, and an awesome game where they stopped Josh Allen. Sauce Gardner had that pass deflection to end the game. That was the game where Zach was effective and Breece Hall got the ball and Ty Johnson, remember him? Remember Ty Johnson? I remember. They all had great performances. And that was also I think that was the last time that Sauce Gardner got an interception. That's one thing I want to see. I want to see Sauce Gardner. I want to see Sauce Gardner get an interception against the Browns. That would be awesome. That would be super awesome. Eli saying that the Patriots game was the game that Jets fans give up on Zach Wilson, because that was my breaking point with him. My breaking point with him was the Thursday night game in 2022, where he laid an absolute egg against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they had to put in Chris Streveler, which, by the way, Chris Streveler, back in the CFL, tore his ACL again, tore it in the final game against the Montreal Alouettes, and they'll be playing them again in the Grey Cup, in the first round of the Grey Cup playoffs in the East semifinals. So, looking for something to do on Saturday. CFL, I think it's either CFL Plus or CBS Sports Network will have the East and West semifinals in the CFL. And Eli, last comment from Eli before I get out of here. Oh man, if Sauce gets an interception, New York Jets Nation will be so thrilled. Yeah, it would shut up people like Takey V and people in the as Maniac chat like Yo Murphy and Allen and Bang Mateo. Ugh. Like, those people their negativity could fuel one Jets drive. I don't mean to talk ill of them because they're in the comments and they're people too, but it's like, come on. The rest of us Jets fans, we're celebrating this win, and they're all trying to poop in our parade. And I'm not going to let the people like that get to me. Eli saying, Ryan, great work and great show, man. Keep the amazing work, my guy. Thanks, Eli. Spread the word, man. I'll be back here. I won't be here next week for Just Embrace the Suffering because it's a bye week. Maybe I'll try to get a special guest. We'll see. Maybe I'll reach out to my fellow content creators for the Jets side and see if I can get one of them to come on, talk about the season, and commiserate. Maybe I'll even open up the phone lines. Maybe. Yeah. Well, if I get a show, if I have a show next week, I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get out of here because I'm a tired boy. I've been up since 4:30 for a workout. I'm gonna get out of here and enjoy the rest of my night. But thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching live or on replay, to Just Embrace the Suffering, presented by No Credentials Required in association with Belly Up Sports. The OG show for No Credentials Required is tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, where Dustin and I will be talking about the rest of the week of the NFL, almost in the NHL, and NFL Week 8. And even this game might make an appearance as one of our biggest upsets. Game of the year of the week. We'll talk more about this performance by Breece Hall. But in the meantime, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for joining me, folks. Be back next week, probably, maybe, just to commiserate and talk about the season so far. And again, if I have a special guest, I'll let you know. If I open up the phone lines, I'll let you know. But thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Again, if you're watching on the replay, leave a comment below. And thanks for everyone who joined live, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or my personal Twitter account. I appreciate it. Have a great night. One more time. Take us away, Ron Middleton.
Victory Monday!
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.